What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down Reborn Ultimate Impact issue number 2. It's a wild situation that's unfolding in New York and in New Jersey. As new heroes and villains rise across the Marvel Universe, Miles Morales races against time to undo the damage. Meanwhile, the Punisher steps up to fight but finds himself completely unable to stop the destructive force of Hostilicus the Devastator. With that, let's dive right in. Kick things off while Miles swinging through Brooklyn. Completely stressed out, he knows he should be in school, but instead he's trying to track down these incredibly powerful objects called the Origin Boxes. Miles is panicking because he knows exactly what's at stake here. He notes the thing in those Origin Boxes are too powerful to fall into the wrong hands. Each one of them contains a recipe for a superhero or a supervillain. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Miles looks out over New York's skyline and admits to himself that this threat is way too big for one teenager to handle alone. He's going to need some serious backup, Avengers type help. We cut now to Bayonne, New Jersey, where we'll quickly find out exactly where one of those Origin boxes landed, as we see the construction worker Vin clutching his head in absolute agony, crying it burns. As his co-workers come to give him a hard time about his viral video, we hear them say, "Hey Vin, you okay over there? We heard about your Wonder Man. Hey, you okay? Would you have a few too many last night?" But the situation takes a terrifying turn as we see Vin's eyes suddenly ignite with a blinding red energy as he lets out a horrific scream, leaving his co-workers completely frozen in shock and terror. Following the incident, Vin is taken to an on-site medical trailer to get checked out. He tries to explain the bizarre sensation to the medic, but the doctor looks him over, can't find a single thing wrong with him, stating, "I don't see any indication that there's something wrong, and certainly nothing that could cause what you say you experienced." Vin defensively replies, "I'm not crazy, doc." And while the doctor agrees, he strongly advises Vin to take the rest of the day off, clear his head, and go see his daughter. Vin heads out of the shipyard completely exhausted, while his foremen wonder if they'll ever get to the bottom of what they saw. Meanwhile, over at Booth Media in Midtown, another piece of the cosmic fallout lands, and this time it hits a woman named Paulina. She notices a strange glowing white orb floating right in front of her. Before she can even process what it is, a massive concussive blast explodes, throwing her across the room, shattering a mirror. As she sits among the glass shards, holding her head in pain, a co-worker walks in to check on her. But Paulina looks up, but her reality completely fractures. Instead of a co-worker, she sees a horrifying vision of demonic monsters, beasts, and skeletal zombies staring right back at her. Terrified out of her mind, she screams, "Ah, what the F?" Finally, we cut over to Central Park, where two friends, Lola and Max, are walking around after finding some bizarre gauntlets. Lola thinks they should try to pawn these genie-ass bracelets, but Max is leaning towards keeping his, feeling like finding something so crazy makes the morning feel special. Lola smiles at him and thanks Max for hanging out after such a weird night and helping her calm down. Max smiles back, telling her he's just looking out for her. They decide to high-five to seal the moment, with Lola saying, "Forget the bump, clack to that." But the second those two nega bands collide, a massive blinding surge of cosmic energy erupts, fusing their silhouettes together as we see a massive hulking green fist rise from the smoke, letting out a low, monstrous growl. At the same time, we cut to Staten Island, where a couple of mobsters are dealing some shady merchandise out of the back of a truck. We see the Punisher watching all this from the shadows as we hear his monologue set the tone. Monsters don't wear rags and chains, and they're not confined to cheap novels and scary movies. They wear pressed suits and drive nice cars, and they're very, very real. The Punisher explains that money buys these guys influence, making them think they're completely safe and untouchable, but he's here to prove them dead wrong. See one of the mob bodyguards standing outside a car, completely unaware of what's coming. Suddenly, the Punisher drops down from the roof like a bat out of hell. The guard only has time to look up and gasp before Frank absolutely destroys him with a brutal drop kick to his face. Frank doesn't just want to send these guys back to the shadows. He says, "I want to send them all back to hell." Frank breaches the inside of the facility, and the mobsters are caught completely off guard. He chalks it up to pure hubris as one thug turns around, realizes the nightmare has arrived, uttering one terrifying word: the Punisher. As Frank lets loose a hail of gunfire, the thugs drop like flies. With the guards neutralized, Frank moves further into the warehouse and rips back a yellow curtain. Behind it, he finds a heartbreaking reality of what these monsters were dealing: human trafficking. A group of terrified women are huddled together on a mattress. Frank lowers his weapon, gives them the reassurance they desperately need, and says, "You're free, all of you." A little bit later, we cut to Central Park South, inside a luxury penthouse apartment. The big boss lives here. His name is Jack, the guy who's been pulling the strings. He's on the phone, completely losing his mind as he's screaming, "That's impossible. The cops won't get their noses dirty, and the feds, well," as we hear someone behind him say, "Behind you." Jack turns around to see the Punisher standing there. As Jack stammers, the Punisher takes aim, blows him straight through the glass window, sending him plummeting to the city below. We cut to down on the streets. The police are swarming the crime scene as Jack's body is loaded onto the ambulance. The cops are yelling at onlookers, saying, "Okay, move along, people, please. You're not helping." Over on the radio, a cop barks, "Shooter spotted on the roof." Frank is looking down from the skyscraper, fully aware that the police are coming for him now. He doesn't blame them for hunting him. It's their job, but he knows his mission transcends laws and norms. He draws his pistol and fires, shattering a padlock on a rooftop door to make his escape. See the Punisher zipping down the elevator shaft and bursts through a set of glass doors into the lobby. He keeps moving. As he exits into the street, he deploys a spike strip to stop the police from following him. A cop tries to pull a gun on him, shouting, "Hey!" But Punisher lunges forward, delivering a brutal kick, knocking the gun right out of his hand. He drops a smoke grenade to blind the rest of the police force, slipping away into the fog. He dives right into a manhole, pulling the cover shut right behind him. He emerges back in Central Park, hiding under a stone bridge while officers search the area. One cop asking another, "You see anything?" And the other replies, "Nah, but we saw him running this way." But suddenly, an entire atmosphere changes. Frank notices the shift immediately as gunfire erupts in the distance. The cops start screaming in absolute terror over their radios. "Oh my God, call for backup! Hernandez, call for backup! We need backup!" Something massive is coming out of the shadows, and Frank notes that when it comes to raw survival, there's no hunter or prey. There's only you against death. A monstrous giant hand reaches out and crushes the cop's wrist as we see him scream in pain. One of the cops is tossed through the air like a rag doll. Punisher steps up and unleashes a massive volley of gunfire. Bullets slam into this hulking armored alien. The creature barely even feels it, looking down at Frank with complete disdain and mocking him, saying, "These toys, they will not defeat the great Hostilicus." Hostilicus slams down to the ground, sending Punisher falling backwards. Before he can even recover, the behemoth closes the distance and delivers a devastating punch right to Punisher's jaw. Frank's inner monologue: "I just got in his way, and now I'm paying the cost for it." Hostilicus grabs Punisher by his leg, lifting him up effortlessly and slamming him into the pavement. As he does this, the creature spots his submachine gun and muses, This is a weapon?" The giant examines the gun, gloating, "Maybe of some use to me and my cause." The Punisher, gritting his teeth in pure rage, narrating, "He thinks this intimidates me? It doesn't." The alien unloads a barrage of bullets right at Frank as he slides under the monster. Punisher is using every ounce of tactical training to survive. He knows the standard bullets can kill a man, but not this creature. There is nothing more than child's play. So Frank pulls out the heavy ordnance, a pair of specialized grenades. He flips the pins of the canisters and hurls them right at the alien's feet. Frank notes that absolutely nobody wants to be standing next to these when they go off. A massive blinding explosion rips through the park. The Punisher doesn't stay around to admire his handiwork. He uses this chaos of the explosion as a smokescreen to slip away, reasoning that his mission can only continue if he stays alive. He flees directly into the shadows to disappear, regroup, as he puts it, become a ghost amongst monsters. As the smoke clears, Hostilicus looks around, completely annoyed that his prey slipped away. He growls into the empty air. "My opponent flees? Disgraceful." But an unseen voice corrects him. "Beautiful, you mean." We now cut to Midtown at Booth Media. We see a man sitting behind his desk, staring intensely at a glowing red crystal amulet. His inner monologue: says, I don't know where you came from, but let's hope you're my new lucky charm. When suddenly his phone rings. He answers expecting a routine business call, but things quickly take a very bizarre turn. The person on the other line is Claudia, and she's calling to apologize. He's stunned. He says, wait, so let me get this straight. You want to apologize to me? Claudia, I've known you for 10 years now. You've never... He trails off as she completely reverses her stance on a massive deal. His eyes glow a sinister, demonic red as he smirks. What do you mean you've changed your mind on the investment? We then cut to the chaotic newsroom of Booth Media. An assistant hands him a drink saying, Sir, your latte. He responds, but I didn't ask for one. Only for the worker to reply, Sir, please, you don't need to ask. The boss can only smile to himself thinking, things are really going my way today. Suddenly, an editor rushes in, completely panicked, shouting, Sir, you gotta see this. It's happening in Central Park right now. He holds up a phone showing a viral live stream of the Punisher fighting Hostilicus. Another employee shouts, we can probably see it out our window if we hurry. But the boss says, no, we go to the scene. We make this ours. This brings us right back to the smoky aftermath of Punisher's grenade explosion in Central Park. Hostilicus, still furious that his opponent fled, demands to know what kind of weak creature would dare challenge him. Right on cue, the news crew from Booth Media arrives. The boss walks right up to him as he says, today is just my lucky day. I come with a proposition. Hostilicus looks down at him with utter contempt, growling, tell me, what can a puny creature of this fragile world possibly offer a follower of Avengers-level? The boss's eyes glow red as he pitches an alliance. He explains that a legendary warrior like himself requires a lot more firepower if he wants to conquer this planet. He promises, I can guide you to the world's greatest, most deadly armories and stockpiles. In exchange, I want to be in the front seat for the carnage. I give you these weapons, and you give me a story unlike any other. What do you say, partner? Hostilicus doesn't hesitate for long. He raises his submachine gun and accepts the deal. The media mogul and the cosmic warlord have just formed a terrifying alliance, setting the stage for a massive war that is about to drag the rest of the Marvel Universe right into it. What an absolute mess New York is right now. If you thought Miles Morales had his hands full with the origin boxes, Frank Castle just stumbled into a straight-up cosmic war zone, a media mogul with a demonic artifact teaming up with a warlord from the negative zone. Yeah, things are about to get bloody. If you want to see what happens next, make sure to smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next video.